HelloIrlandia, the Polish show on 103.2 Dublin City FM. Join HelloIrlandia every Thursday at 8:30 to listen to the best of Polish music and community stories in Polish. HelloIrlandia w 103 i 2 Dublin City FM. Nasz głos na Zielonej Wyspie.
Hello and welcome to HelloIrlandia. I'm Lady Aga, and today I'm in Virginia in a beautiful Buddhist center, Bodhi Path Buddhist Center,
yes,
with Lama Tsony, who's been a resident Lama here for 10 years already. We're gonna ask a few questions. Lama will take us around the land and tell us about the place, who comes here, who teaches here, what is the main function of the place, and what other activities are taking place here.
As you said, my name is Tsony, that's the Tibetan name, which means the two provisions that are necessary on the way to enlightenment, wisdom and goodness. So it's a beautiful name that my teacher gave me in 1978. And
that was Gendon Rinpoche.
That was Gendon Rinpoche, correct. And I try to live up to this. You know, it's kind of an inspiration. If you become a Buddhist, often you're given a name.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a new ID for a new life. It's an inspiration also for you. So I live here in this beautiful country since 2009. As you said, I'm originally from France, as you probably can hear. Try to disguise my French accent, but people here say it's cute, so please keep it, so I keep it. And I act here as the resident teacher. I'm not in charge of the administration of the center. I'm purely here to help people here understand more what Buddhism is about and help them in their spiritual practice and their own path. I have a website, and then the title of the website is Tsony Dharma Roadside Assistance. When I was living in France, the last, let's say, 17 years of my life there, I was in charge of one of the largest monasteries in Europe, both for men and women. And so I was really supervising the development of the place, and so there was a lot of activity. You know, as a joke, I used to say I was a business monk. You know, I was very, very busy. And then I come to a point in my life where I think, you know, I received a lot and I've given back a lot, and now, you know, turning 50, it's about time for me to think about what I really truly want to do. And so I decided that I wanted to step out of the monastic life, which had given me a tremendous support, but I wanted to explore beyond that. And so, which is a possibility in our tradition. I know not everywhere it's possible, but you can be a monk and renounce this status and become a lay teacher. And there is no, you know, how do you say that?
No consequences.
You're not blamed, it's just like be honest and open. And so like, I think it's time for me to work like this and be helpful through this channel. And so that's what I did. And life is like this, that when you change a little bit your angle, your perspective, then things change and reorganize around. So as I started thinking, yeah, maybe it's about time for me to start something else, and looking for a new challenge somehow. Maybe I had the feeling after 30 years as a monastic that I've done everything I could do in this field. I've been challenged, I learned a lot, but it became too comfortable. You know, and when it's comfortable on spiritual path, it's never a good sign. You know, in our tradition, the Kagyu tradition, meditators would spend considerable time of their life meditating, like maybe 7 years, 10 years, 12 years. But every so often, 10 or 12 years, they would leave their retreat, their hermitage, and go in the city to put their realization to the test. Because you may think you're enlightened when you're alone, but when you're back in the middle of the city, back in the middle of activity, then you realize what is true and what is just your imagination.
So basically, in the external circumstances outside of the retreat, you just test your realization. That's the real minefield for your practice.
Yes. Particularly when you're not, like I really stepped out, and for 1 year I was not even living in a Buddhist center. So you're with people who are not Buddhist. Like when you're in the monastery, there are some tests, of course, like friction, people live together and there's always tensions and whatnot. But we're all trying to play the same game, which is, try to be nice and kind and cooperative and, we have some, we could say, ethic. But when you're out, you meet all sorts of people.
The rules change.
Some couldn't care less about what you think about life, And so you have to adjust and you have to see how deep is your realization. So this was a good experience. And Shama Rinpoche, who is the founder of the Bodhi Path network of centers throughout the world, asked me to come and work here and help here in this country. Well, actually, he did that as early as 1999. My first visit in the USA was in 1999. I was in California, Santa Barbara, and he was there. And then during his lecture, he said, and then Lama Tsony will stay here. And so I looked at him and said, Rinpoche, I have sort of responsibilities in France. Okay, well, come as often as you can. So he had already in mind that he wanted me on this side of the pond, So I was very, very happy to oblige him because he's been so important in my life, he taught me so much and gave me so much that was the least I could do was to respond positively to his request of me coming and helping here. And then I fell in love with this place. I really love Virginia. I've traveled throughout the country everywhere. I've been everywhere, but I always come back here happily.
Let me just add that we already covered the personal story and the first years in the Dharma of Lama Tsony back in France in our previous video. So do feel free to check it out on our HelloIrlandia YouTube channel. And now we're going to talk more about this beautiful place around here. So when was it founded?
This was founded in 1997. Originally, Shama Rinpoche was looking for a piece of land. And two of his students, Jay and Carol, who actually live here now, at this time were living in Chicago, and they were about to buy a piece of land in Wisconsin to start sort of a farm or community, rural community. And Rinpoche said, no, Virginia. And he was attracted by Virginia because when he was younger in the monastery, the story says that there was a guest, a visitor, who forgot a tape of John Denver's greatest hits, where he sings, "West Virginia, bring me home." And so all the monks in there took this tape and then listened to it. And Rinpoche felt, with Virginia, West Virginia, it didn't really make the difference then. I'd like to go there sometime. And so they scout, closer to DC first, but it's very expensive around DC. So they went a little bit more south. And then they found this property. Jay and Carol bought it. And it's pretty big. I think it's 250 acres, something like this. Wow. And they carved out in the center a piece of land about 70, 80 acres that they offered to Shama Rinpoche, the Wisdom Foundation, who holds everything here, to make a Dharma center. So that's how this place was found. And then slowly, Shama Rinpoche built a house there, built a stupa. It's all built in a very organic manner that somebody wants to come and spend some time in retreat. So they build a house and then they stay for some time, 3, 4, 5 years. Then life takes them somewhere else. They just give the house to the foundation. But we don't have really a living community here.
Right, so people just come from around, people who live around, they just come attend the lectures and meditations.
Yeah, and it's not like there is a wish not to have this, it just didn't happen.
Right.
Because people have their life, they have to make money, they have to work, and it's kind of hard to find a job around here, unless you're a farmer. So it didn't happen. But we're open to the possibilities that more people come and settle here. We have our regular program every Tuesday. We have a sort of a book study. It's an hour and a half every Tuesday. People come, they read the book, it's a chapter or so, and then we discuss. And I give some more information if they need, and so on and so forth. And maybe it takes us a year to go through a book, So we have time. And then we have the Sunday, so that's our practice time. It's kind of a, in America, the church day is Sunday, so people sort of like get in their mind that Sunday is for meditation or worship or whatever. So, we have from 9 to 10 every Sunday when I'm here. We have what I've called BYOQ, bring your own questions, which is an open discussion. You can come with any question, any topic, nothing is off limit, and we can talk about it and maybe try to see it from a Buddhist perspective, of course. And then after that, we have our sitting silent meditation. And we're joined, it's, anything between 10 to 30 people come to meditate. And it's a silent meditation. I give some, very little instructions so that people are not a little bit lost when they don't know what to do during this moment of silence. But people who come on Sundays are not always like Buddhist. We have people coming just because they like to sit in silence. We had our friends, the Quakers, whose gathering place was under remodeling, so they had no place to come and sit in silence, so they decided to come and sit in silence with us.
So you're open to that?
Oh, of course. The Bodhi Path, really, the spirit of the Bodhi Path that Rinpoche wanted to put is an open place. It's a very open place. Of course, we have a heritage, which is the Kagyu heritage, but we're not like forcing this. People are welcome, and it's an open place for discussion, exchange, and I
anyway,
like
traditionally, the center follows the Karma Kagyu tradition.
Yes, but not in a sectarian way. Like sort of like, oh, this is this and only this. Anybody is welcome. You can come, and basically Shamar Rinpoche's vision is that we're all students of the Buddha. And so there's no reason really to say like, oh, you're on the right side of the Buddha's teaching and you're on the wrong side of the Buddha's teachings. It doesn't make sense, right? And then here we are living, in a mostly predominantly Christian area, we're part of the Bible Belt. So, of course, a lot of people who come to sit here are either strongly Christian or inspired by Christian teachings and so on. And I frankly don't ask. I don't ask an ID, like, who are you? Where do you come from? What is your persuasion? I said, friends, you're welcome. Come and sit. Let's talk about things that we human care about and that necessary, So we create this very friendly environment.
And it all happens in this beautiful building behind us.
Yes. Which was actually the story of this building is quite interesting, It's a friend of ours who, at some point, he was a contractor. He built most of the houses here. But at some point, he was sick and he was afraid and worried, what might happen and so on. And so very deeply inside, he said he made a wish. He said, like, if I go through this and I'm not, I don't die, then I wish to build a meditation hall for the friends here. Oh. And so he just told Jay and Carol and Shamar Rinpoche, I'd like to do this. And they said, sure, go and do it. And he built it. So he got his crew here and he paid for everything and built a meditation hall for everyone.
So that was basically a generous donation from somebody who got inspired.
Much. Everything is on donation basis here. We don't have of course, when we have guest teachers like Tenler Rinpoche or Jigme Rinpoche coming and so on, there are some fees and we need to cover the fees. So there is some course fees, but it's all on donation basis. We really like to create this dynamic of generosity. Like I live here, I'm not paid, I don't have a salary. It's just, I'm an artist, so there's a hat, and then people put some, and then we go through this and with this, and that's fine, So the idea is everybody's welcome. If you have money and you want to donate, you're really welcome. If you have less money and you want to give a hand working here and so on, you're welcome. So it's really a place of generosity, of friendship. I like to call our group a fellowship. We're really together.
How about we go and see inside?
Sure, let's do that.
So we are in the Gompa right now. Here you can see the Buddha statue and beautiful tankas
The altar here and the Buddha statue, Shamar Rinpoche really wanted that we try to find a blend between Asian culture and American aesthetics. So we had a cabinet maker here to build this with it's a cherry wood. So it's not really Tibetan. I mean, if you're familiar with Tibetan temple, there's a lot of colors, and it's, like, for example, you wouldn't have blue walls. It's more like yellow and red and so on. So we try to bring a sense of, familiarity. The blue, for me, I like it very much because it gives a sense of comfort and friendliness and
peace.
And it also wealth. It's kind of like feel rich, but not wealth in the sense of bling bling, money and just something like you like to sit here. And that's the idea. We like to sit here.
So that's the statue of Buddha Shakyamuni.
Yes.
And who are on those tankas?
So these are, maybe I start here. The reclining Buddha is a depiction of this part of the life of the Buddha when he passed away. Mm-hmm. So it's a reminder of our impermanence. Even the Buddha died. And so that's a reminder of this. The other tankas are a great master of our tradition. Here you've got the third Karmapa, Ranjung Dorje. Here you got the 8th Karmapa, Mikyo Dorje. And here is one of the very important Shamarpa, the 6th Shamarpa Chukyi Wangchok, who is here. So it's kind of like a reminder of where we come from. It's our heritage. We benefit from the teachings of these great masters.
And the Gompa can contain roughly 90, 100 people?
Officially 99. Well, unofficially we had a little bit more than that.
Okay. Shall we move to the stupa?
Sure. Let's go.
Okay. We are in the proximity of the stupa.
Yes.
What's it called?
There are 8 forms of stupa. Mm-hmm. And this one is called the Stupa of Enlightenment. So it's sort of, it's a reminder of the Enlightenment. And it's a sort of an archetype. If you look at each element of the stupa, the different steps, they represent one stage on the path. And you just keep going, and then there's this central part, round, we call the vase, the bumpa, and then inside there's a Buddha statue. So that's the moment where things become more mature. And then you've got 13 rings that are the 13 final stages leading to enlightenment. And then on the top you got the sun and the moon, which represents the full fruition of your altruism, your compassion, combined with the wisdom. And then the little drop at the end sort of like opens up to the space. So it's all leading to this absolute truth, this absolute reality, the true nature of mind, which is very elusive, for we cannot grasp it with a concept or an idea. And so it's sort of showing you the way to go, and it's sort of pointing out to the sky. And so stupas are sort of I call it the blessing power plant, because inside are contained scriptures, mantras, also relics from great masters of the past, and they're consecrated with very, very powerful rituals at the time of their completion, when the construction is finished. And then you can use them as a reference point. Stupa is a Sanskrit word. It means pile up. One thing's pile on top of another. In Tibetan, the word is chuten, which means a support for your aspiration and your offerings. So you make wishes, you circumambulate clockwise, which is the traditional, very old Indian way of showing respect, either around a guru or a great master, or around a sacred place. You circumambulate, and while you circumambulate, you can pay attention to your breath and just do a walking meditation, just as simple as that. You can also have wishes, like make deep wishes for people you know who are in a difficult spot in their life, but also more general, like making wishes to reach enlightenment and be of benefit for everybody. So stupa is known to be liberating upon seeing, upon touching, upon remembering. So it's really it's kind of an icon, you click on and that opens the apps of enlightenment in your mind.
So it's a physical representation of enlightenment.
Yes, exactly. It's of course, and all of this is symbolic, This is not enlightenment, but this is it shows the way, and it connects you with something very ungraspable.
So it works in the same way as meditation on the idam, where idam represents enlightened qualities of your mind.
Absolutely, you can do this parallel. Yes, that's true. You have to remember that this is a symbolic representation. So you do not project some sort of sacred or whatever absolute reality. In essence. And you're talking about the meditation deity, the Yidam. In essence, your mind and the Yidam's mind are not different. It's not a worship in that sense.
Yeah.
It's more using a skillful bridge to get in touch with your own inner qualities.
So basically, Buddhism uses very smart psychological techniques, or actually techniques that go beyond psychology, because we don't really know about any enlightened psychologists, but we do know about many enlightened Tibetan Buddhism masters.
Yes.
So that's a technique that goes way beyond, but it's based on human psychology and
human reality,
human archetype.
I mean, even larger than human reality, it's mind. So we're all whoever is a sentient being is endowed with mind, and then this mind is endowed with the qualities that somebody like the Buddha brought to absolute fruition. So it's possible for all human, but also we should regard animals and all forms of life as being endowed with this, and we should respect them for that and help them to come closer.
So also what is important, all those symbols like stupa, which is being a symbolic representation of enlightenment, and then yidams, they work also whether we know about it or not, because it influences our subconsciousness.
Yes,
so we can work with our mind in more or less aware way. But getting explanations, Buddhist teachings clarifies here and helps a lot on the way.
Yeah, I mean, it works in itself. Like, let's say, if you come into a place that is very inspiring, you don't know how it was built, you don't know what tradition that is, you don't know anything, you're just like, wow. So it works. But then if you spend some time and you know more about the heritage and you know more, so your knowledge becomes deeper. But there's a first contact, which is why we said this is liberating upon seeing. You don't have to know anything about it, or just having a contact with it one way or another.
So basically it presses all the right buttons in our mind.
Yes. That's why I said it's an icon. You click on it. When you click on your icon, like my grandnephew who is 3 years old, he knows how to open an application, but he doesn't know how it works behind.
Right.
It's on a user-friendly surface.
So, that's comforting that it works, whether we know about it, whether we know how it works, or whether we're aware of that.
Absolutely. But then after that, you want to learn how to code. You want to, to know how to make it work and create your own apps.
Okay. On the premises, we also have cottages or retreat huts.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you could tell something more about those.
As I said, for the temple, the meditation hall, this was built sort of organically. Somebody offered this land was offered. And so some people build houses for their own purpose. They wanted to do retreat. And then life, after a while, took them somewhere else. But they left the houses, and that can be used by other people. And so the idea is that we've created a space where people who want can come and take some time off. Some will just come and take a little time off, literally, just to rest, because it's a very peaceful place. So it's not really a retreat in that sense of meditation practice, more like getaway.
Right.
And then some other will come and deepen their practice. And for that, I really want to know them beforehand. Okay, so I would advise them first to come for a group retreat, and we have like 4 times a year. So I can see them, we can know each other, I can see what is their daily practice, because it's all based on whatever their daily practice is. We have to discuss about their practice, and they have to have some sort of practice already.
Right.
We just expand it. If you do half an hour, then we're going to repeat this half hour throughout the day. We're going to discuss together what could be the ideal schedule. Maybe you need to meditate a lot, maybe you need to meditate some, and then read, and then walk. I mean, it's really, each individual will have a different schedule.
So the residing Lama makes sure that anyone who wants to come into the retreat is being taken care of and receives proper guidance.
Yes.
So everything goes well, and actually the meditator gets proper results from the retreat.
That because it might be very challenging. You said, okay, I want to go for a retreat for a week. It's a nice idea. But when you're in the house for 1 week, if you don't know what to do, might be a little bit challenging. So we want people to enjoy the time they have here and come back home with something that's valuable, something that they will keep cultivating.
Great. It's been great talking to you. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I hope the message spreads and more and more people will get interested in the meditation and will want to come and check out this beautiful place. It's amazing. The weather can be really surprising. It's sunny now, but it can also get some proper storms.
We have 4 seasons.
We have 4 seasons.
4 seasons. So we have good winter, we have spring and summer. Fall is beautiful. If you come here September, October, it's gorgeous.
Once again, we all encourage you to come and check out what it all is about. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, guys, and maybe see you here somewhere in Virginia. Remember, the motto of the state is Virginia is for lovers.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.